Everyone, Blake Sloan here with Sloan Realty Group. Just finished this week's radio show here at WRNN. Have the brand new market numbers in from last month, and they're very, very interesting. The good news is we saw an increase in sales for single family homes. Prices dropped a little bit. Condo market got crushed last month. Double-digit loss in terms of sales, also pricing down. But we have some good news we just talked about in today's show. We track two main things. What properties closed, which means they closed last month, which would be April. If they closed in April, they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. So sometimes you could be using data that's 30 to 60 days old, in some cases 90 days old. And so that's not always the best for picking strategy. So two main numbers we'll talk about today. The other part we talked about in today's show is how many properties went under contract. We call that the front windshield numbers. That's what's happening in front of us. And the good news is this past week, we had a new record. It was the most sales under contract since March 25th, 2024, which is awesome. That number is 670 properties under contract in a 7-day period for $250+ million in a 7-day period. Great news. Now, the same day that happened, they had a Federal Reserve meeting. There was an announcement that the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz would last a little bit longer. So the bond market really took a dive. Rates shot up to over 6.5%, but it's kind of leveled out a little bit in terms of that. As of today, 647 properties under contract last 7 days for $244 million. So not too bad overall, but we just saw that record. And again, if you go back to some of our videos and radio show, we predict this would happen. It's typically the busiest week of the year across the country. I think, and I've said this to many clients and on the radio show, this is the single most important spring market in over a decade. I say that because the macro market right now, there's some major cracks, I feel, in the housing market across the country. There's some cracks in the economy, as we know, from affordability and inflation, things like that. And so I think there's a small window with a lot of pent-up buyer demand that's been waiting for rates to drop. They really went crazy when rates got 5.99. They tend to slow down a little bit as rates jump back up. And as the war started, that put a really big kind of damper on the market. But I do think you may see some weakening mid to late summer. And so if you're thinking about selling, it's a great opportunity to take advantage of that right now. If you just look at some of the numbers in terms of closed deals, the rearview mirror numbers, last month, single family home sales down 1.8% from the same month last year, but they're up month versus month, which is great. That's what I was talking about. February had a super low number, 362. Right now, last month, 486 under contract, which is great news. Sales down, prices up. So prices for median price, single family home sales up, which is great, 2.6% at $399,950. Average sale price up, which is great, 3.7% at $517,504, which is great. The other part we're seeing, months of supply. It's staying pretty equal. Right now, 5 months of supply for single family homes, which is pretty healthy. Anything less than 6 months, technically a seller's market. Anything more than 6 months is what they call a buyer's market. But the key thing also, days on market for properties did decline. The average days on market right now is 110 days for a property that does sell. Again, those are only the ones that sold. Yeah, think about still, less than 50% of properties are actually selling. And that's a national number right now. Just on a webinar this week with a large data company, only 6% of homes in any neighborhood or any area are actually getting listed, and 3% are selling in a 12-month period. And so you got to think about that. The numbers, and we just looked at last year, some crazy stats. We saw obviously one of the slowest real estate markets in terms of units in 20 plus years. And they're saying, hey, look, in that time period, there's been almost 70 million more houses built, and you're still seeing a very, very low amount of properties sold. And so that's why you want to make sure that you're navigating that. The two main numbers we talked about in today's show, and the ones that matter the most if you're thinking about selling, is what are the average showings that the average listing gets in MLS? Right now, the average listing gets 4.0 showings the entire time it's listed. And so you have a 6-month agreement in most cases, they're only getting 4 showings total. Now, what's the problem? That's not enough showings to get a buyer who actually wants to buy it. Because if you look at the data, how many showings does it take on average to get a contract? And we track that through the MLS. The MLS knows when people get access to the property, how many showings does it have before it typically goes under contract. Right now, the average is 13.3. So the average listing only gets 4. It takes 13.3 to 3x. They need 3 times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to actually get a contract. What does that mean? It means you can't just list with any old agent. You can't list with the average agent. The average agent in marketplace sells 4 homes a year. There's no money for them to eat with, much less spend in marketing. So if you have a friend, relative, whatever it is, the last thing you want to do right now is gamble in the current marketplace with an agent who's part-time, an agent who doesn't have marketing budget, an agent who's not aggressive in following up in terms of what they do. That's what we talked about in today's show. Look at condos. Condo market, like I mentioned, getting crushed right now. Their sales are down last month 12.7%. Only 350 condos closed last month compared to last year, down 12.7% from the same amount last year, which would obviously be April. Average sale price for condos down 4% right now versus the same month last year, $270,650. Median sales price for condos down 11.4%, with the average price being $216,950. That's something we mentioned a few weeks ago, and even last month, probably last month's video. Like, if I have a condo, I'm probably getting rid of that thing sooner rather than later. If you're talking about 11% decrease year over year, you have a $200,000 condo, you just lost $22,000 in equity just in a 12-month period. Not to mention any HOA accounts that you have to pay. Many of the Airbnbs and short-term rentals we've been talking to client-wise, including the ones that we've owned, have gone down year over year. Just less people coming in town due to affordability. And so that's something you want to understand and think about too. Right now, supply 8.5 months of inventory for condos, which is a buyer's market for sure. A whole lot more listings than there are buyers right now. And so if you want to get your condo sold, you need somebody who can do two things. One, market it to get the right eyeballs on it because there's just so much competition. Number two, have someone that actually pushes that. We share in today's show our buyer team. We have 25 plus buyer agents. We call them buyer experts. They make 14,000 phone calls per week on average to buyers that we actually have. And we just shared real time on today's show of how many buyers we have real time. We spend $100,000 a month in marketing. Right now, we're at 83,116 active home buyers, 83,116 active home buyers from all over the globe. Today, we had Toronto, Canada. We had Minnesota, San Jose, California, Brooklyn, New York, Jamaica, New York, Maryland, all over, Georgia. We had all kind of places there. And so if you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us. This is the time. I think the next 2 months are by far the most important. Typically, last month, which is April, May, June, are the biggest months. July is really the one after that. And so if you're thinking about selling, you know Myrtle Beach is seasonal, take advantage of that. Reach out to me. Reply to this email if you have any questions. We're here to serve you for the long term. In addition to that, we have an amazing tool that I spend a lot of money. Just share that in the show too. We spend $3,500 a month plus for everyone to have this free service we offer. It's on our main website. It's in the email you saw where it says get your home value, and it also says get a cash offer. That tool is amazing. It's like a stock ticker for any property you own anywhere in the country. So you can have a portfolio of 50 properties. It'll give you 50 separate, basically, of your own page that has every detail about the property, what it's worth with the 3 largest data sources, what your real-time equity is based on your mortgage balance, what's selling around you, what's active around you, what to look for going forward. And you can get a human valuation if you want, because again, no algorithm is perfect, especially if it's a waterfront property, waterway property, oceanfront, lakefront, golf course. You want to make sure you have a human valuation, kind of update that for you. And we're more than happy to do that. We offer that as a free service. You can also offer get a free cash offer on there. Just click the button. You can also make sure you click the button. All that's in the email for you at the very, very bottom. If you see this on our website, you'll see it on the left side, on my left, which would be, I think you're right, on the website where you can get the instant cash offer, instant home value. And if you want, just go right to the home page, type your address in. It'll help you right there. It's a free service. We're not going to bug you. We're not going to hassle you. Obviously, we gently follow up, which is what any professional should do. But we're here hustling right now. Give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. We're here to serve you for a long time and be a real estate resource for life. So talk to you soon.